Hello everybody, welcome to Snyder's Inc. and today we are a new video here. This is when fake cops realize they've been arrested. We're gonna get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button, subscribe button, comment your thing down below. Let's go.
Certification for your agency. What are you talking about?
A police officer's job is one of the coolest professions to do, and that's why some people, like these guys,
I don't know if it's the coolest job to do. I've seen some things in my day that tell me otherwise.
Be straight up honest with you, I'm not a cop.
Stop pretending you're a police officer.
Listen, I know what I'm allowed to do and what I'm not allowed to do.
go the extra mile to pretend to be one. But what happens when fake cops realize they've messed up and are caught by real-time officials?
You're not sworn law enforcement. Yes, I am.
These are 4 times fake cops realized they've been arrested. And starting at number 4 is by far the most controversial of the bunch. It all began in the early hours of September 1st, 2023, when an Atlanta police officer was called to the scene of an auto accident at around 3 a.m. The officer quickly reported to duty, only to notice upon arrival that something about the situation wasn't quite right.
What's going on, man?
Somebody just hit us at the red light. This my husband.
Standing at the scene of the incident was 42-year-old Patricia Smith and her husband, 47-year-old Samuel Smith, who was heavily intoxicated and, even more surprising, handcuffed.
Sir? He in handcuffs? Why is he in handcuffs?
I can't answer no questions, sir.
Hold on 1 second. Leave him there, leave him there, leave him there, leave him there, leave him there.
An ambulance was later called to the scene and the couple were both arrested. Patricia was charged with DUI and other traffic charges, while her husband, Samuel, was arrested on an outstanding warrant. With the couple set to go to jail, one of the senior officers went over to ask Patricia about the mystery behind her husband's cuffs. The answer to that question would lead the officers to another clue in this mystery.
How did he wind up in handcuffs?
Sir, we just left the strip club.
Which strip club?
Peaches. down
Peaches?
there.
Okay. I got you. Over on RDA?
Yeah.
I got you. Okay. Did you guys get into it with security over there?
Sir, I don't know.
Okay.
All I know is that's my husband. I don't know.
Okay, that's fine.
This woman, she's so out of. I don't know if it's because they're drunk or whatever, but the fact that like her husband's in handcuffs and she don't know how he got in handcuffs is something that's hilarious to me. I don't have an explanation for how someone would be in like, especially my significant other ends up in handcuffs in some sort of way. You bet your ass I'm gonna know how she did.
You're good.
Despite knowing she was heading to jail, Patricia refused to reveal the identity of the man that had put her husband in cuffs. However, she did give the officers a new lead, a nearby strip club named Peaches. And so, the officers left the scene of the accident and drove to the nearby club where they met 49-year-old Terrence Jack.
So what I assumed happened. So I'm gonna assume that they because to them, right, despite the fact it's an easy overshot case on if they did anything, like the couple, them being in the guy being in handcuffs clearly bothered these cops so much because they're like, okay, who put them in cuffs? Who has handcuffs and put them in it? Like,
Jax dressed in a complete DHS outfit.
What do you work for? Homeland. Okay.
Jax told the officers that he worked for the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, as a special agent, and to be fair to Jax, he genuinely looked the part. The 49-year-old was dressed in a vest that had a police patch on it, had a special agent badge, a handgun, and a sedan equipped with blue lights, all of which supported his claim of being a special agent.
yeah.
But because Jax told the officers he was a DHS special agent and looked both nervous and unsure of himself, the officers immediately knew something was off. But first, they needed to know what had happened earlier with the couple they found.
Did y'all have some up here a little bit ago? Male and female get into it with anybody?
Yeah.
Left in a pair of cuffs?
Yeah.
Alright, what was the story with that?
Jax admitted to handcuffing Steven, but he claimed that it was only because they were making a nuisance of themselves in the club.
They were just drunk.
Alright.
And,
Okay, but here's the thing. If he wore your handcuffs, you don't handcuff him and then let him leave in the handcuffs. That's not how it works. You don't, that's not That's not what happened. I have a feeling the chick was flirting with him. I have a chick feeling that the wife was flirting with him. That's probably why. Because I don't know why you wouldn't reveal that. That's kind of weird.
Whose handcuffs is he wearing?
Mine. He took off. He jumped in the SUV and took off.
Yeah.
At this point, it was clear to the officers that Jax was lying, so the officers detained him a little further to confirm his status as a DHS special agent. And it's at this point that Jack's lies began to crumble one by one.
Here's what I want you to do for me, okay? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take your firearm off your side. Okay?
Oh, shit.
You got just syrup right here?
Yeah.
Alright. Place that in my car. I'm gonna detain you for right now.
Okay.
All right.
The officer then began to strip Jax of his badge and other accessories.
Right now, you are not under arrest. You're just being detained for the further investigation here. Do you have a key to your handcuffs?
In the car.
Keys in the car?
Yeah.
Who's the radio through?
Now, up until this point, Terrence Jax had maintained his position of being a DHS special agent. However, Terrence must have realized that he'd already been backed into a corner, because when the officer asked him the next question, Jax didn't lie. Instead, he chose to shoot himself in the foot.
eBay. Nobody.
Okay.
Wanting to confirm he heard correctly, the officer asked again.
That's not a Homeland radio?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna have you have a seat in my car for a minute, okay?
No.
As Terrence Jax sat in the officer's car, more officers joined the scene as they tried to figure out who Jax was and what his motives were. And that's when they discover even more shocking details.
The license plate is off of a Bluebird school bus from Tucker, Georgia. That's how he got a GV tag.
Wait a minute, he stole a plate from a school bus? He stole a plate from a school bus? My man was determined. My man really wanted to be a cop. That was some next level determination right there. Holy crap. That's amazing. He was so determined he took a tag off a school bus just to be able to have it.
Radio check this thing.
The police officer gathered all evidence they had together, and Terrence was arrested and charged with suspicion of impersonating a public officer or employee and was booked into the Fulton County Jail. However, Terrence isn't the only one whose silly idea of impersonating a cop saw him serve some jail time.
Can I ask what about this was controversial? I'm confused. What about this was controversial? That looks pretty open and shut. I don't see the controversy there. Maybe my brain just doesn't see it, but I don't see the part of the controversy there.
Meet Brandon Wasinski, an 18-year-old from New Mexico. Brandon was pulling a traffic stop at around 12:30 in the morning when a real police officer who happened to be passing by noticed something about the situation wasn't quite right. Brandon's car didn't have any police markings, but the car was flashing red and blue lights. And to further add to his confusion, Brandon wasn't wearing any police uniform. Instead, he was spotting a face cap, blue jeans, and white sneakers.
My man!
So,
Mom, I have a movie. There's a movie theater where people win with shit. That man looks like he goes to go work at a movie theater. Like behind the counter and some shit. That's what my man looks like he's about to go do. My man don't go looking like he's gonna do that shit. What y'all doing?
the officer pulled up to have a look, but the closer he got, the more he realized he was up to something.
Can I talk to him for a minute?
Intrigued by how a young man was making a traffic stop in the middle of the night, the officer decided to quiz Brandon about who and what department of the police he worked for.
What's going on? Who do you work for?
Early Country Club.
Oh, okay.
I know, I'm under-equipped.
Normally, you do, if you're out here, man, if you're making a traffic stop, you're just gonna have to stop, dude. Alright?
Brandon told the police officer that he was working for the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Department, even though he looked like he belonged in the football squad of some high school team. The officer immediately knew something was up, so he asked Brandon to show some means of identification to confirm his status. And this is where things start to get even more tricky.
Because he doesn't have any. My question is, why are you trying to give a traffic stop? What's his goal here? Is he one of them ones that thinks he can pull people over and he can just say he has a... pull me over and try to get like money or something? Like, is he one of them? I don't know what his goal would be to have at 18. Why would you do such a stupid fucking crime at 18 years old and think you'd get away with it?
You say you work for Warren Sheriff's?
Yes, sir.
Do you have an ID with you?
And this is all I got on me. Like I said, I'm under equipped. I was just heading over there to the courthouse.
To the courthouse for what?
To get my crap. I know it makes no sense. I caught him going 120 down I-40.
Why do you have lights on this vehicle?
Personal. I know.
Do you have an ID with you at all?
No, I keep it on my uniform.
Brandon said he worked at the sheriff's department, but had no other means of ID except for his badge, and was going to the courthouse to get it before he saw a driver going above the speed limit and decided to pull him over. And when the officer asked why he was flashing blue lights, he simply said it was for personal reasons. But because Brandon's story showed a few gaps, like how he was under-equipped, the officer knew something was up.
And I'm not here to mess with you, man. It's just the thing is, yeah, he was speeding, dude. You could have called it in. And because if you get into shooting, you're
right.
All right, man.
I understand.
All right.
Everything about this guy is suspicious. This guy is completely suspicious from beginning to end. Nothing about this guy is legitimate. I couldn't buy this guy. This guy looks like a guy who'd be an officer years later if he wasn't already also looking like he should be behind a movie theater counter.
For starters, I know this looks really bad.
Right.
This looks really bad. This screams whacker.
One thing you gotta give to Brandon, though, is the confidence. He might be 18, but all through the interrogation, he acted like nothing was wrong and played it cool. However, it's that confidence that would eventually spell his doom. But for now, Brandon was bouncing on it.
How long you been on?
About 3 years.
Okay. I've been on for like 13 years. Alright, so I'm not saying I'm perfect, and I'm not saying that I've never done anything to, against protocol, but you need to be a little bit more careful, alright?
Hold on, man. My man's you can't that's a lie. Are you trying to make it seem like you're older? Because that would mean you've been in the police department. You're 18 years old now. That would mean you've been in the police department since you were 15. Which I'm pretty sure that's not fucking true. Because there's no way 15-year-olds are being hired by the police department. I'll fucking wish, bro. But no way.
So, just do me a favor, hang tight for a second, okay?
Yes, sir.
And we're gonna, and that's it, alright? Once we're done here...
Now, if you're thinking that Brandon's confidence might just steer him out of trouble, think again, because the police officer had reached out to his superior to come down and help. And as far as Brandon goes, his day was about to go from bad to worse.
Hey, Brendan. In the meanwhile, man, until I get somebody out here, man, do me a favor. I'm not going to handcuff you, but I'm going to have you sit in the back of my car, all right?
All right.
Do you have anything on you, man? Any weapons or anything? Okay.
Keys and wallet.
That's fine. Just have a seat, all right?
As Brandon sat in the back of the police car watching the officers discuss his situation, Brandon began to think hard about his situation. And that's when the 18-year-old realized a daunting truth. He had messed up, and there was no going back.
What's that? Yeah, give me 1 second. What's up, man?
Alright. I'm just gonna be straight up honest with you. I'm not a cop.
Up until this point, Brandon had kept his cool and acted like he was in the right. But now, everything was falling to pieces, and the boy behind the costume finally revealed himself.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just gonna be.
Where'd you get that badge from?
I bought it offline.
Okay. Do me a favor, stay in here, okay? For a second.
This is a situation many of us have found ourselves in the past. The moment your lies finally catch up to you and you're left with nowhere else to run but the truth. And as Brandon contemplated his terrible decisions, the officer explained the situation.
Look, I've been well, listen, all of us have lied. Every human being around the world is lying. Anyone who says they don't lie is lying themselves, and that is a lie. So, everyone lies. I've never been this stupid with my lies. I don't know whose type of stupid ass would do that. That's just ridiculous.
To his superior.
I was heading northbound on 4th Street. I see this unit, 54 in the car, and I'm like, okay, you know, it's this car that's right here. And the guy was wearing jeans, no gun belt, no nothing, a t-shirt. And I'm like, and just wearing like an Air Force hat. So I'm like, that's strange. So I flip around, and his plates come back to civilian, doesn't come back to, you know, a skip or anything. So I stopped. I talked to him for a minute.
It's here that the cop also reveals to us that Brandon had also lied about his age.
That's what I would assume.
He first told me he was born in 94. When I checked the plates, he was born in 2001.
We also find out that...
That's where it kind of makes sense for me, because I was thinking, I'm like, for him to be saying 3 years, if he's telling him 18, that's an immediate lie. No, of course he was lying about his age. He was making it seem like he's in his 20s. Like late 20s too, I believe.
That the officer did a background check on Brandon and discovered something that might explain why Brandon decided to start playing police.
I double checked with MVD, his oil end comes back to 2001. I had him sitting back in my car because that's kind of weird to me. And right now when I was getting out, he's like, hey, let me talk to you. I was like, no, I'm not a cop, I just bought this badge online.
So he's not an ECSO employee at all?
No.
After reaching a conclusion with the sergeant, Brandon was finally arrested.
For a second, at this point right now, you are being under arrest. Do you understand? Okay. And give me a moment, and then we're going to talk a little bit more, okay? All right.
It's unclear whether Brandon was just having fun playing police or whether he dreams of one day becoming an officer. Whatever the answer is, instead of enrolling in a police academy to become a proper official of the law, the 18-year-old decided to take matters into his own hands and ends up in cuffs because of it. Now, you would expect the story to end here, but not quite.
No.
Mind if I take a look at your badge? Would you be okay with that?
Yeah.
You got this online?
At this point, Brandon had been caught and arrested, and logically, he should be done with the lies. But instead of telling the officer that he got the badge online, just as he'd previously told the first officer, the 18-year-old decided to lie again.
You got this online?
It was, at one point, my father's.
Brandon even sheds some tears and begs the officers to let him speak to his wife, which...
Oh my god! We really know my button thing's doing its own shit.
might have probably been a lie too.
Also, you're 18 years old. If you actually have a wife, that is a problem. If you're 18 years old, you have a wife, that's a fucking problem.
Do you mind if I call my wife and tell her I'm not coming home tonight?
That's going to be a decision these gentlemen make.
So I need you to lean back a little bit.
Okay. Can I please call my wife?
When we get to the substation, we'll give her a call. Okay?
Other than Brandon is 79-year-old police chaplain Harlan Jeffers, whose reckless decisions saw him end up on the other side of the law. On the 9th of May, 2019, 79-year-old Harlan Jeffers was using his red and blue emergency lights to move traffic on the highway. Little did he know that he was making one of the worst mistakes of his life, because while Harlan was cruising on his white Nissan and acting like an officer of the law, another motorist had been watching him before eventually notifying the police. Not long after, Spark police officials caught up with Harlan to get an explanation about what was going on.
So you're a chaplain. You're not sworn law enforcement. Yes, I am. It says it on my card. You're the chaplain. I'm a senior chaplain, yes.
Harlan explained to the officers that while he wasn't exactly a policeman, he did work for the police department as a chaplain. For context, the Sparks Police Chaplain Corps is made up of local clergies of various religions who volunteer their services to the police department to provide guidance to members of the department and community during times of crisis or any difficult time. Chaplains, like police officials, are given a badge but are not allowed to have red or blue lights in their car.
I've wondered why he would have, like, the way I was hearing what he was saying, I'm like, why does he have police things on his car? He shouldn't have red and blue lights to begin with. You shouldn't have red and blue lights to begin with, and then you have now him. You're 70 years old, dude. What are you thinking messing shit up like this? You have a good luck going. 70-something years old, you're a chaplain at a police department. Why on earth would you stop whipping some lights in your car and all that, just trying to act like some type of hot shot? What are you doing? You're better than that.
I've been with the department for about 9 years. Pretty close to that.
After a few rounds of questioning, the officials decided to detain Harlan for some time as they tried to get a full picture of the situation at hand.
Let's walk over here, sir. You have it? I've not, no. Okay. Walk over here. Alright, you're currently detained right now, okay, until we figure out what's going on. So pretty...
Just as the officer took Harlan away, the 79-year-old realized that things were quickly escalating out of control. Defending himself, Harlan admitted to using his reds and blues on several occasions, but he claimed to only do it when there's an accident or in time of an emergency.
I truly turn my lights on. You turn your lights on? When I'm called out, generally if it's a catastrophe, a major accident.
But the officers weren't buying his excuse, especially since Sparks Police Department, where Harlan worked, confirmed to the officials that Harlan had no police authority or authorization by any agency to have red and blue lighting in his personal vehicle.
Of course he wouldn't. He's a 70-something-year-old man. They ain't gonna give him no police authority. They ain't gonna give him police authority. A random, some dude who's not even with the police, like an actual sworn, trained police officer. They ain't gonna do that at all.
After Harlan was put in the car, the officer proceeded to speak to the witness, who had initially brought their attention to Harlan's recklessness.
Hello.
How's it going, sir?
Pretty good. How are you? Thanks for the play. So what all did you see?
He came flying. I was in the left-hand lane on 395 heading home from work in Reno.
So he's coming out of Gardnerville area-ish?
No. 395 from Reno.
From Reno, sorry.
And he came flying up behind me. I'll admit, I was doing around 77 and 70.
All right.
He comes flying up, and he slows down, then he throws on his cherries. And he moves me over to the side of the road. The moment I get over to the shoulder, he zips back over and speeds up.
Okay. Was other vehicles yielding too?
Other vehicles were in the right. I was passing someone.
Okay.
There was no one that I saw. I barely even saw the cherries because this thing's in my way.
Right. That's a pretty big setup there.
yeah. You know, for when my Jeep can't make it up, pull that. I just wanted a kid. And then I started following him, and I realized he was trying to shake me because he would speed up. The moment I would get next to him, he would slow down. So I called dispatch. They put me through you guys, and then I just followed him here.
How many other times did he use the red and blues that you saw?
He only has them on the front.
Right.
I did see the reflection on his window like 3 or 4 times as we were going.
Okay.
That's how he got so far ahead of me at one point.
So you do think he used them in other times?
Oh, yeah.
After getting the witness statement, the officer proceeded to explain the situation to his partner. It's here that we find out Harlan was using his reds and blues to skip past traffic.
So, here's something. In where I live, the police department, I've seen officers, I'm talking like many officers do this, where they will use the red and blue lights to zip past the red light and then turn the lights and sirens off, just so they can get through the red light and keep driving. I'm telling you this, I've seen this happen with my own 2 eyes. It is flabbergasted when it happens. Officers will do anything and use any situation to help them get through traffic and shit. It's fucking insane.
So the guy over there, the witness, he's working on the statement. He's got dash cam, and he says that he's coming out of Reno, 395, and He's in the passing lane, the witness, and he comes up behind him, activates his red and blues. He yields over to the shoulder, and then he takes off. He's like, yeah, he thought that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
And then he kind of came up, continued following him, gave us a call. And then he said he was just like a driving pattern was kind of different. Like he'd speed up, and then he'd slow down. He said his words were he felt like trying to shake them. And I said, did you see him use the lights any other times? And he says, I couldn't see them very easily because he was in front of me and I was following. But he said he felt that at least maybe 2 or 3 other times that
he saw the red blues?
Because he yielded to him.
So he yielded to him?
To get out of the way.
Oh, okay.
So he gets out of it because he's in the fast lane. He's passing other vehicles.
Okay.
Truck comes up behind him, gets him to move over, which he does. And he's like, that's weird. And then he kind of followed it. And he thinks maybe 2 or 3 other times between all of this that he saw the red lights, blues come on like a reflection off of another car. But that's the best he could say.
Him do it to him, which was good enough, and he admitted to using them. And he just put them in last week. And he says, he's like, I am a sworn. I'm like, you're not a sworn police officer.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
you're a sworn chaplain with the Clark Police Department.
It's one of those like, hey, it's more of this has been bestowed upon you out of a mode of respect.
Yeah.
Not that you have law enforcement powers.
Yeah.
More police officials arrived at the scene, and after gathering enough evidence, the officers moved to confiscate Harlan's badge.
Physically just take this
and the bat and the shield.
Pictures of it already?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so take the badge out there. We'll leave his wallet with his property.
In one moment of madness, Harlan, a 79-year-old chaplain who should be upholding the law, not breaking it, had lost everything. His reputation, his position in the community, and finally, his job. Harlan was later arrested and charged with the equipment violation of red and blue lights and impersonating a police officer. It all started around 5:15 p.m.
That insane. He lost his reputation, he lost his job, all because he decided to be a little stupid with his red and blue lights.
On the 31st of July, 2023, Florida State.
Of course it's Florida. Of course it's Florida. There's always going to be a Florida one, right? There's always going to be a Florida one at the end of time. There's always going to be something in Florida. In any video I do, Florida will always make its presence known.
An officer of the law had stopped to buy gas when he heard an unfamiliar siren noise. So he looked up for the source of the sound, and that's when he saw a black pickup truck flashing red and blue emergency lights. Now, this was strange, especially because the officer knew there were no calls for service in the area that required that level of response. So he got in his vehicle and caught up with the truck to find out who the officer was and why the officer was in such a hurry. Little did he know, he was in for a big discovery.
See your other hand for me? Where are you headed to?
The driver identified himself as 52-year-old Derry Lambert, was wearing a black hat with the words Police U.S. Marshal on it, and even showed a badge to prove it.
Where are you headed to? A shooting in Marion Oaks? Okay, 10th floor.
Derry claimed that there was a shooting in Marion Oaks, saying that it was where he was headed in such a hurry before the officer stopped him. The officer then went to verify his claims and came back with even more questions.
Hey, sir, so the vehicle is your vehicle, is that correct? Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I'm looking for something to verify that you're a U.S. Marshal, all right?
Went to voicemail, so I left him a message.
Okay.
I got to go back to shift in about 2 hours. So.
Where's shift at? Where's shift
I got to get my car.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, hopefully we can get this resolved really quickly. All right, thanks.
Derry initially claimed he was in a rush because there was a shooting in Marion Oaks, and then said he had a shift in 2 hours. Not only was it strange because if there was indeed a shooting that happened that he was supposed to get to, he would have been worried, or in fact angry, that the officer wasn't allowing him to perform his duty and potentially save lives. Instead, Derry changed his story, saying he was in a hurry to go to a shift he had in.
Yeah, but if I'm on a job and there's a shooting going on and I need to be there and the officer's like, yeah, but I need to, think. I'm like, listen, there's a fucking shooting going on. Drive with me there if you have to. Deal with me after that. I gotta go do a shooting. Deal with a fucking shooting. And I'm not gonna let people get shot because you wanna do your job. I'm sorry, but I ain't gonna let people get shot for your job.
In 2 hours. Something wasn't adding up. However, things were about to get even more complicated.
Hey, we got somebody on the phone who wants to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Sir, what is your name?
Gary Lambert.
Okay, what district do you work out of?
I work out of Texas, but they got me down. They got me down in Florida right now, looking into Marion Oaks. There's two gang.
Hold on. Hold the. You're telling me that Texas people send you all the way to Florida to look at some gangs? You're telling me Florida? You're telling me they ain't no Florida people who go? You ain't that special, mi amor. Mi amor, you ain't that special. You ain't nobody. I ain't gonna send you down. That's the biggest honky shit I've ever heard.
Gangs out there that are riding on a four-wheeler with a pole on it, busting into people's houses.
Okay.
And they got a call, so I chase. What's that?
What district in Texas do you work out of?
Dallas.
Okay.
My second house.
Saying that's a federal crime.
Yeah, exactly. I know exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Once again, Derry's story wasn't adding up.
No!
First, he said he worked in Texas, but came to Florida to operate a case a Florida marshal could have easily been assigned to. Derry was lying through his teeth. The officer knew it, and Derry himself knew it. But what Derry didn't know, or had probably failed to realize, is that there's only so far your lies can take you.
I'll give him credit. I will give him credit, okay, for this lie, because he's very committed to this lie. He is the. If his story was not planned out, he has come up with a hell of a story out of it. Makes no damn sense, but I'll give him credit for at least coming up with something.
You.
All right, do me a favor. Just go ahead and turn around for me. Again, put your hands behind your back.
For what?
I'll explain it to you. Well, and who do you work for? Who are you employed by?
United States Marshal Service.
U.S. Marshals. Okay. You told me that you don't have your credentials with you, but they're in your.
Yeah, my Charger.
In your Charger, a work vehicle.
Right.
Okay. Who's the Charger registered to?
It's registered to the Marshal Service.
Marshals. Okay.
That's my personal vehicle.
So why would the Marshals outfit your personal vehicle with lights and sirens?
In Texas, it's not like here.
Okay.
You don't have cars like this.
We have a Florida tag.
I know.
Moments after Derry was arrested, an actual U.S. Marshal was brought to the scene to fully expose the fraud he is.
Hey, how long you work for the...
I give major credit. They went as they were going to decide. They were not even just gonna kind of go there. They wanted in front of him to dissect his entire story. They weren't wasting time. They weren't doing anything. That is amazing. They wanted to make sure this guy made it. They wanted to make sure this guy knew he ain't getting away with your shit. But we know you're fake.
The U.S. Marshals.
About 3 years.
3 years? Okay.
Going on.
I'm sorry?
I'm finishing up at Votech with Lacucci right now to go to work in Marion County. So.
To do what?
Maybe Derry believed his own lies. Maybe he thought that by telling more lies, the officers would be impressed and eventually release him.
I think it's the first one. I think he believed his own lies. I actually believe this guy believed his own lies, and he was committed to his lies. So,
whatever it was, the truth is this: the more lies Derry told, the more he dug his own grave.
Yep.
Coming down the road, get a call on my cell phone. Hey, they see the four-wheeler out there on the drone. Can you come help us?
Who's that?
So
Who called you?
My squad in Texas. If you look through my phone, you'll see the 941 area code.
By squad, what do you mean by squad?
They sent 3 or 4 of us down here.
Who is they?
So this guy in the orange here is an actual U.S. Marshal whose legitimate reason he's here is to dissectly destroy this guy's bullshit and while being here. And this guy's doing a Good job at it already.
The Rangers.
The Rangers? Which Rangers? Like the baseball team?
No. Hell no.
Okay, so what Rangers?
He said the Rangers. What, the baseball team? You say, hell no. Not the...
The Marshalls.
The Marshalls?
Yeah.
So what, where do you work out of Texas?
Dallas.
Dallas?
Yes.
What's your district?
District. What do you mean?
If you're a U.S. Marshal, you would know your district.
641.
641? Okay.
That's our squad.
Okay.
But there's only a few of us here.
A few of you? Would I be one of those?
No.
I'm not a U.S. Marshal?
I don't know. I see your badge.
Well, here's my credentials. I am actually a Special Deputy U.S. Marshal.
Yeah.
Here are my credentials.
Yeah. Mine are in my car.
I would say probably not. Because I'm asking you very easy questions to be able to identify yourself, and you're not.
At this point, it's probably clear to you that
I like this U.S. Marshal guy. He came up with very easy questions and immediately just proved this guy's foolish. Like the U.S. Marshal here.
Derry is not a U.S. Marshal.
No.
To be fair, it's probably been clear since the start of this video.
Yeah.
But why? Why was Derry so adamant on pretending to be a U.S. Marshal that he was willing to risk a jail sentence to pretend and constantly lie that he was one?
Who's your supervisor?
My supervisor?
Yes, sir. Your direct supervisor.
Jim Willis.
Jim Willis?
Yeah.
What do you do for the United States Marshals?
Well, I normally just do raids.
Raids?
Yeah.
Okay, who do you work for?
Again, I will. Here's the thing. There is part of me that I'll be like sitting there, but I know he's lying. I know every part of it. Why does he have an answer to every question? He has an answer to every question. It's not even like he has an answer to every single question. Despite the fact he's completely lying. It's so weird. He has names and everything.
I just told you twice.
Like, okay, so where do you work for the Fugitive Task Force? Do you work for the District Marshals?
No,
Who do you work for?
I work for the task force.
You work for the task force?
Like people running, we do raids. All I do is raids.
Okay, listen to me for just a second. I'm going to give you a little bit of an out or whatever.
Right.
I know you're not a U.S. Marshal. I'm a U.S. Marshal.
Right.
I know for a fact, 100%, you are not with the U.S. Marshals. Okay? So I would just want to know why you would try to identify as a U.S. Marshal. Was it to, like, get around traffic?
No.
Okay, so what were you trying to do?
I told you twice. I was responding to a call.
With the U.S. Marshals?
Yes.
Okay.
You don't know about the drone?
The guy tried to give him an out and he still wouldn't take it. Unbelievable. The guy is so committed to his lies.
Drones out there flying over.
Sir, there is nothing like that. I'm gonna give you a little tip, pro tip. Okay? There's only 3 of us in this county. You are not one of the other 2.
The officers then put all the evidence they had together, and Derry Lambert was arrested and charged with false impersonation of a law enforcement officer, unlawful use of blue lights, unlawful use of a badge, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, possession of diazepam, and introduction of contraband into a detention facility. It's safe to say Derry won't be getting out anytime soon.
No, clearly not. Clearly not. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this reaction video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the like button, subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all for the next one.